Hello guys, and guess what today is? It's my birthday! I am 24. 24? I'm 24 years old today. How do I feel? Every year that I get older, my life gets better, so I like getting older. But at the same time, the thought of being 24, I know that everyone older than me is gonna be like, really, 24? I'm 28, or I'm 50, or I'm 100, that's nothing. I thought that it'd be kind of fun and kind of a different video, but I'm really excited to make it, to do 24 things that I have learned in my 24 years of life. And I of course have learned many other lessons than this, but I just thought that I'd condense it. And I threw in a couple silly ones in there that are still good lessons, but they kind of lighten the mood because of course, you know, life is hard and life lessons can be hard. I hope that you guys enjoy this video, and if you do, please subscribe to my channel to support me and my hobby and my family and something that I'm very, very passionate about. Let's get into the video. Numero uno is to be unapologetically you. There's so many times where I maybe order something on the menu, or I wear something, or I am a certain way, and people give me crap for being that certain way. Like, oh, you're ordering mac and cheese, isn't that kind of a child's like food? Or, oh, you're wearing Ugg boots, how basic are you? I am an Amazon legging wearing, Louis Vuitton loving, PSL drinking person, okay? And I have decided in my ripe age of 24 that I just don't care what other people think. I'm gonna be unapologetically me. I'm gonna order mac and cheese at a really fancy restaurant. I'm going to, you know, wear my Uggs and my Amazon leggings and my Louis Vuitton purse. Whatever I like, and I'm not afraid to be basic. I'm not afraid to be, that's very hipsterish of you, or, you know, that's weird that you like that. I don't care anymore at 24. I like what I like. I'm unapologetically me, and that's just how it is. Number two, God had to really humble me and break me and show me that my reputation wasn't everything for me to learn this lesson. And it was a very hard one for me to learn, but not everyone has to like you, and not everyone will like you. And at 24 years old, I have realized that that is the truth. There are so many people that don't like me, and I have to accept that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. The people that love me, and that's great and that's awesome, but especially having a YouTube channel and sharing my life on social media, I know that I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and something I say may offend someone, or the way I do something someone may not like, and so people just may not like me. And at this age, I have realized, you know, I'm not gonna put so much stock into everyone liking me. I'm not gonna worry so much about everybody liking me, because you know what? After, you know, the life that I've lived, if you don't like me, get in line. There's a huge line. You're gonna be waiting for a while. And I will try to be as likable as possible, but at the end of the day, if I am unapologetically me and people don't like it, sorry. My third lesson changed my life, okay? And that is, put like cloth scrunchies on your wrist when you wash your face in the sink. If you're like a shower wash your facer person, then you're fine. But if you wash your face at the sink, and you know how the water drips down your arms and it gets all over the floor and all over your feet and on the counter, and it's just a disaster. Get cloth scrunchies and put them on your wrists when you wash your face, because it will catch all of the water that drips down your arms, and then you will have a clean counter and a clean floor. Game changer. My fifth lesson is that you are enough and you belong. And specifically how this relates to my life is, I didn't grow up the most fortunate. I am what my mom would refer to as po folk. I grew up on top ramen and mac and cheese and hot dogs, and you know, we played with cans and bottles, came back inside when the street lights were on, and you know, it was just that kind of time. And I had a great childhood and it was fine, but it caused me to feel like I didn't belong anywhere fancy, that, you know, oh, like, that's too fancy for me, I don't belong there, people are gonna see that I don't belong here and that I'm an imposter. And specifically when like David would take me to really, really nice restaurants, because the nicest restaurant to me was Olive Garden. My whole family, we would get dressed up in our Sunday best to go to Olive Garden, and we only went there on like people's birthdays or like special occasions. And so for him to take me to like restaurants where we spend like $200, $300 on our meal, the first time David took me there, I was like, no, we need to leave. We should just go to McDonald's, like that's where I belong. And it took me, actually him teaching me that I do belong. I am enough. I can belong wherever I put myself, and I am worthy to go wherever I want to go and do whatever I want to do. And so that was a lesson that I learned, and I'm so glad that I learned it, because it actually made me a more confident person. I didn't shy away from opportunities or, you know, restaurants or events where I would feel like I, you know, wasn't good enough for. And so that was a really awesome lesson to learn. Okay, number 6. Woo! Some people on my Facebook need to learn this one. Being mean will not help someone else agree with you and will not change their opinion. I promise. My point is that I used to be the type of person who had a certain set of beliefs politically, spiritually, you know, with my faith, whatever. And if someone didn't agree with me, I wanted to sit there and argue with them and tell them that they were, you know, dumb for believing what they believe or whatever. And coincidentally, it never changed their mind when I would call them names and be mean to them, like I thought that apparently it would. You're being mean to people unnecessarily. People are allowed to have their own opinions, and being mean and nasty and awful to people is not going to change their mind. So there's really no point in doing that. It just causes anger, bitterness inside you, you know, it may hurt other people, and so there's just no point. And so I just decided to not be mean to people if they have a different opinion than me, because there's just no point in that, you know? Number 7, this is gonna hurt your feelings. I should have put this in an unpopular opinion video, but In-N-Out is not good, okay? It's not. Chick-fil-A is much better. Popeyes is better. There are many, McDonald's is better, okay? I know, that's really gonna hurt people's feelings. But In-N-Out's not good, it's just really not. We went there for Mother's Day for my stepmom. We drove like an hour to get there. We spent 2 hours in line to get this food, and it was an experience, and of course we had fun because we're us. But it is so not worth it, and it is really not that good. I mean, yay for them for being like a Christian restaurant and everything, and having like Bible verses at the bottom of their packaging. I'm like all for that and happy days. If it was like a McDonald's where I could get it in like 10 minutes, then I wouldn't mind so much, and their prices are bomb. But their food's just really not that good, and it's not worth like 2-hour wait times, you know what I'm saying? So these people who are just like, In-N-Out, like people from other countries get excited to go there. And I'm just like, no, no. In-N-Out's not that good. That's a lesson that I learned. Setting spray for your makeup fixes everything, okay? Your makeup looks ugly, setting spray. You look cakey, setting spray. Powdery, setting spray. You're having a bad day, setting spray, okay? No, I'm just kidding. But it really does. If your makeup's not looking quite right, spray the crap out of your face with setting spray, dry it off, and you should be good to go. Number 9 is protect the spirit of your house. So in my house, we like to be kind. We like to love each other, and I feel, and maybe I'm biased because it's my house, but I feel like when you walk into my house, there's just this loving presence, there's this warmth. Anyone who walks in feel like home. And if there are people in your life who are coming into your house and causing a disturbance in that, or you know, they're being mean, or they're being nasty, or they're just like ruining the spirit of your household or the vibe, protect the sanctity of your house. Be like, hey, You know, in this house, we're kind. We tell the truth. We, you know, we communicate. We don't yell, whatever the case may be. Let that person know that, because this is your house. It's your territory. And, you know, if you have a certain way that you like to have your house, then protect that. But that's just my opinion though. It's just a lesson that I've learned. Number 10 is you can love yourself where you're at, but not have to stay there. So for instance, where I'm at now, I'm at the biggest weight that I have ever been. I had my son and I have not been able to get back into a gym. I don't have the energy to exercise at the moment. And eating Uncrustables and goldfish crackers is like my life right now. And so I have to accept where I'm at. I have to love myself where I'm at, but that doesn't mean that I need to stay in this place because I love where I'm at and refuse to better myself or refuse to accept if, you know, my body changes or my personality changes or whatever changes happen in life. You have to accept where you're at and love where you're at, but you don't have to be upset if you don't stay there. So number 11 is that revenge is not my job. There was a person in my life who wronged me deeply, and, you know, it was kind of the way that, you know, I was very much humbled in my life because there was rumors spread about me and bad stuff spread about me. Got to the point where there was a large group of people who thought badly of me, and, you know, I had to accept that. And I wanted so badly just to, you know, get revenge on that person. But I have learned, being 24, that you can honestly leave that to God. Either leave it to God, or if you're not religious, just know that what goes around comes around type of deal. Because I ended up not doing anything about it, and now that person, now the light was shed on that person, and they are, you know, learning the lesson the hard way. I didn't have to do anything about it, because really that just makes you bitter and angry, and it disrupts, you know, your life. And so leave the revenge or leave the karma to God or to the universe or whatever. It's better to focus on bettering yourself than to focus on getting revenge on someone who did badly by you. Number 12 is that grief never gets easier. You just get used to being a different version of yourself. So when my mom was here, it's not that I don't have my own identity, but she was a part of my identity. I look like my mom. I have learned so much from my mom, and a part of me is her. Obviously, you know, I came from her. She was one of my very best friends, and so it's kind of like there's a little hole in my heart, and so now I have to live with that, and I have to get used to that. And so it does not get easier. You just learn to accept yourself having that little hole in your heart. And I'm not trying to be depressing. I try to look at it in a bittersweet light, knowing that I will see her again someday. And the time that I did have with her was the biggest blessing of my whole life. That's just what I've learned, is that, you know, they say that time heals all wounds, that grief gets easier. When you've lost a specific person that you loved so much, grief does not get easier. You just learn to accept a different version of yourself. Number 13 is learn other people's love languages and learn your own. There's a love language test that is online. It's called the 5 Love Languages. And whether you're religious or not, it's just a cool thing to learn, because when you learn what someone else's love language is, then you know what specifically to do to make them feel the most loved. I love gifts and acts of service. I'm just a person who loves presents, whether they're handmade, they're small, whether it's just, you know, bringing me a coffee, whatever it is. I just love gifts. I love presents. I love surprises. They just make me excited and make me happy. And because I'm a mom and I'm busy all the time and I have a lot of work to do, acts of service, like someone, you know, helping me with the laundry or watching Simeon so I can get stuff done, or, you know, whatever, something like that, that is how I feel the most loved. It doesn't mean that, you know, if someone compliments me or someone gives me a hug, it doesn't mean that if people do those things that I don't feel loved, but it's like the optimum, or like the most amount of love. I hope I'm explaining this correctly. Number 14 is that I have no room to judge, and it's not my job. I am a recovering judgmental person. I used to be a person who would judge people's outfits, their makeup, their life choices, their lifestyle, whatever it was. I used to judge people based on that. And it took me many years and many lessons to realize that, like, first of all, it's not my job to judge. Like, God is the ultimate judge, and it's not my job. So I really don't need to say, hey, you're doing that thing wrong, or hey, that decision you're making is a really bad one. These random people specifically that you don't know, it's not your job to judge them. It's God's job, and He will let them know, I'm sure, when they get up to heaven. But you really don't need to do God's job by, letting them know that they're sinful and awful and horrible. Living the life that I've lived so far, I've realized that there's so many situations where people could have seen me and thought something and would have had no clue what I was going through at the time, would have had no clue of my story, and they would judge me. I know that I'd be upset if someone judged me not knowing what the whole story was, and so you can't judge someone else not knowing what the whole story is. And that kind of goes into number 15. Motherhood is hard, and cut some mothers some slack, okay? It is a hard job. You don't realize it, but motherhood is 24/7. There's no break times, there's no leaving work at work and going home. Your work is at home. All these little children running around 24/7, that is your job. And so it's a hard job, and it requires, your mental skills, your emotional skills, physical skills. It requires everything of you. Let's just cut some moms some slack, Whether you formula feed your kids, you breastfeed, you bottle feed breast milk, or you co-sleep, or you don't believe in timeout, or you don't believe in timeout, or you don't believe in screen time, or you do, or, your kid threw up all over their outfit in the middle of Target, and you didn't want to buy a new outfit, and you didn't have one in the diaper bag because for some reason it's not in there, and so your kid has to go around the store in a diaper. It happens. It happens. It's hard being a mom, and so if you see a mom struggling, or you see a mom doing it different than you would, try not to judge. Try to just cut her some slack. Just know that most of the time, that mom is doing whatever she thinks is best for her children because she loves them so much. Number 4 is everyone is on their own journey. You can't expect people to think like you do. You can't expect people to do what you would do, because everyone is on their own journey. I used to be a very judgmental, hypocritical person, and it took me going on a journey to change my opinions on things, change my beliefs, and just change my personality. It took me a while to get there. So if you are so hard on people because they're here, it's too early. You kind of have to accept that sometimes people are the way they are. You can, of course, plant seeds, be like, hey, have you ever thought of this thing? But just know that everyone's on their own journey. Some people make the journey slower than others. There's so many aspects to life. There's so many lessons to learn. And so for some person, it might take till they're 100 years old on their deathbed to learn the lesson that you learned when you were 5. People are different. Everyone has different brains and spirits and just personalities. Everyone is different. We just can't judge people based on their own journey. If you knew me in high school, middle school, please come meet me, because I am so not the same person that I was. I have been on a huge journey, and I would really like to re-meet people so they can know that, what they thought of me is no longer, 16 is if you want something, do it. I have wanted to start a YouTube channel for so long. I want to say since like sophomore year of high school. which would be like 2012. That's how long I've been wanting to like start a YouTube channel, but I never had the guts, or I always felt like I didn't have resources to do that, until one day I decided, you know what, I have a phone, it has a camera on it, I'm gonna do this. And are my videos gonna be the best quality? Probably not. Are my editing skills gonna be the best? Probably not. But I wanna do this, so I'm just gonna start it and go and see where it takes me. And if someday I have better equipment, or someday I feel more comfortable on camera, or whatever the case may be, I will get there. But if you want to do something, go for it. If you can dream it, you can do it. Number 17 was another hard lesson for me to learn, but do not let past mistakes define you. You did that thing, maybe you regret it, maybe you don't. You are not your mistakes. You are you. You are made up of more than just little decisions that you have made in your life. You are you. A mistake that you made is such a small, minute, I wish I knew math because then I could do that math, but that little decision that you made in your life, there are millions and millions and billions of decisions that you've made in your life. So do not define yourself by that one mistake or those multiple mistakes. You're gonna make more, you made some, forgive yourself. Don't define yourself by that. You are more than that. And don't let other people define you by your past mistakes either. They might, and we kind of have to accept that, you know, some people think once a cheater, always a cheater. Some people think once a stealer, always a stealer. Some people think, oh, she's a gossip queen and she's judgmental or hypocritical. You know, some people think that you can't change, but I'm living proof, and I know tons of people who are living proof that people can change. And so you do not have to be defined by your past mistakes. Number 18 is kind of like everyone's on their own journey, but accept other people where they are. I'm the type of friend that I suck at texting back. I'm so bad, and I apologize to all my friends, but I have true friends that understand that I am not a good texter. I don't text back, but if they bug me enough, or if they just show up at my house, then I'm like, well, hi, I'm so excited to see you. But my mind is like up in the clouds 24/7. And so to think to text someone or to be like, hey, let's hang out, is like not even on my radar for some reason. Accept people where they're at so that you're not disappointed. Just accept people where they're at, love them anyway, and it will make you happier and them happier. Number 19, I kind of touched on, but forgiveness is for you. It is not for the other person. If forgiveness was for the person or the people that have wronged us, then a lot of people would not get their apology, or they would not be able to forgive. Forgiveness is for you, so you can let go of that thing, and that person or that thing doesn't have control over you anymore. You don't forgive for yourself, you hold this bitterness inside that can grow and grow and really affect your life. And so there are people who have wronged you who are sleeping perfectly fine at night. They're sleeping like a baby, and you're over here losing sleep and losing hair and stressing about this thing. So forgive them for yourself so that it doesn't have control over you and you don't have this bitterness inside of you. Now that we've talked about a bunch of serious stuff, number 20 is that the Instapot is the best kitchen appliance that I have ever owned. Seriously, get one. There's like a slight learning curve, and then once you figure it out, you can just make random crap and experiment and do your own thing. But it just cooks things so fast. You can cook frozen chicken in like 20 minutes instead of hours and hours and hours that it would normally take. And everything is so flavorful. It's like a slow cooker or like a crock pot, but the time is like shortened. It's just amazing, and you should just really try it, okay? So number 21 is you are allowed to love and support people without them being in your inner circle or without them being in your life directly. So there are people who maybe you just don't vibe with. There are people who their personality or, you know, decisions they make or things that they do affect you greatly. Maybe it offends you, maybe it makes you sad, maybe it upsets you, or maybe it's just not good for you. You know, maybe you have decided not to drink anymore because, you know, you have an issue with that, and then you have a friend that drinks always. You know, it sucks, but maybe that friend can't be in your life for right now, or they can't be in your inner circle for right now. And that's just one example, but you can still love them and support them without them having to be in your life directly. So number 22, me and one of my good friends actually talked about this the other day, but it's to tell your story even if it hurts. I feel like it's specifically like my job and my journey on this earth to tell my story and to talk about things that no one else will talk about, and to kind of break the stigma that we need to put up walls and we can only tell our story to people that we trust, and we need to be guarded because then people can use what they know against you. Well, I will have you know that if you tell your story, if you are open about your story, transparent, people can't use it against you, because you know who else knows? Everyone else. Telling your story can help other people to know that they are not alone. You have a unique story, and that's true, but parts of your story might be parts of other people's story as well. And they might feel alone and isolated and feel like they're the only person who has been through that thing. So if you share your story, then they can know that they're not alone, and they'll share their story. The biggest thing that we have now that I feel like we didn't have back then is relatability. Because people share things, we can relate to other people and connect with other people, and it's all around a good thing. Now, don't share your story before you're ready, but I implore you to share your story, be open about your life, your mistakes, your successes, everything, so that you can connect with other people on a deeper level and have other people feel like they are not alone. So at number 23 is something that I've been doing for a while that changed my life, and that is, if you have like dry ends on your hair, shampoo your roots. Like, start at your roots and then obviously rinse your hair. You do not need to shampoo your ends unless you got like gum or honey or something yucky in your hair. You do not need to shampoo your ends. It would take years and years for the grease from your scalp to reach the bottom of your hair. So the bottom of your hair doesn't get greasy or dirty, so it doesn't need to be shampooed. Plus, when you shampoo your roots and you rinse it out, all that shampoo runs down your hair and cleans your hair. And so it prevents your hair from getting dry and brittle. And on that same point, start your conditioner at your ends. Start at your ends and work up. Because again, you get greasy here, right? At your roots. So if you concentrate all your conditioner here and then you barely have any when you get to the ends, your ends are gonna be really dry and your roots are gonna be really greasy. So shampoo starts here, conditioner starts here. Okay, this is my last one, my 24th lesson that I have learned. And that is, do not be so hard on yourself. Just like I've said before, everyone's on their own journey. You are on your own journey. You have made mistakes. You have had successes. You have done good things. You've done bad things. Everyone has. Sometimes life is hard. Most of the time, life is hard. And so if we expect 100% out of ourselves all the time, then we're gonna feel like we're failures. I had lost my mom. I was, trying to raise my sister. I was raising my son. I was trying to be a good wife, be a good friend, do all these things, and it just became too much, and I was overwhelmed. And so I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't taking care of the house, and I felt like a complete failure, but I shouldn't have. I should have realized that I was going through so much at the time, and so to expect 100% out of myself would have been foolish. And so give yourself a break. Don't be so hard on yourself. Sometimes, you're on top of the ball and you're on your game, and other times you're not. Life is hard and that just happens. But if you can just love yourself and accept yourself where you're at and not be so hard on yourself, then you wouldn't be so hard on your friends or your family. You need to also be kind to yourself and not be so hard on yourself. I hope this was kind of fun. I hope that it was interesting as well, and maybe you learned something, or maybe you know, were able to think of something that you hadn't thought of. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And again, if you did, please like and subscribe. And there are plenty more videos where that came from. I have over 100 videos on my channel that you can watch if you want to. I will also have my Instagram linked down below so you can get more of your dosage of Mamabean here. But anyways, guys, I hope that you have a wonderful day, and happy birthday to me, and I will see you guys in my next video.